US sends warships through Taiwan Strait. China's military reacts. The US Navy confirmed today, February 12, that 2 of its ships had made a trip through the Taiwan Strait. The US Navy said the 2 ships that passed through the Taiwan Strait were the Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer USS Ralph Johnson and the Pathfinder-class survey ship USNS Bowditch. The 2 ships made a trip from north to south from February 10 to 12. According to Reuters, citing a statement from the US Navy, the trip took place through a corridor in the Taiwan Strait that is beyond the territorial sea of any coastal state. Within this corridor, all nations enjoy freedoms of navigation, overflight, and other internationally lawful uses of the sea and related freedoms, said Navy officer Matthew Kummer, a spokesman for the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command. This is the first time the U.S. Navy has sent a ship through the Taiwan Strait since Donald Trump took office as U.S. President for a second term on January 20. According to Reuters, the U.S. Navy made the statement after China Central Television, CCTV, reported today that the Chinese military announced that it had organized naval and air forces to monitor the maritime activities of a U.S. destroyer and an oceanographic survey ship that passed through the Taiwan Strait from February 10 to 12. Li Shi, a spokesman for the Chinese military's Eastern Theater Command, said the actions of the 2 U.S. ships sent false signals and increased security risks. Soldiers in the theater are always on high alert and resolutely safeguard national sovereignty and security as well as regional peace and stability. CCTV quoted Li as saying. In other news, the FBI finds thousands of new files on the assassination of President Kennedy. The FBI has discovered thousands of previously unidentified files related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The FBI announced on February 11 that it had found a new set of files after President Donald Trump signed an executive order requiring the release of all files related to the 1963 assassination of President John F. Kennedy. According to Reuters, the search resulted in about 2,400 new files that had been inventoried and digitized but had not previously been considered related to the assassination. The FBI said it had notified relevant agencies and was in the process of transferring the files to the National Archives and Records Administration for declassification. Last week, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence sent a recommendation to President Trump on which classified documents about the assassination should be released. After 6 decades, the mysteries related to the assassination of President Kennedy still attract great interest. Kennedy was shot on November 22, 1963, in Dallas, Texas. The sole assailant identified was Lee Harvey Oswald, who had visited the Soviet embassy in Mexico 6 weeks before the assassination. Government agencies in later years have reaffirmed that conclusion. But polls have shown that many Americans believe the president's death was the result of a larger conspiracy. The files may reveal more details about the incident, but historians say they are unlikely to help bolster conspiracy theories surrounding the assassination. Journalist Gerald Posner, author of a book concluding that Oswald acted alone, said his biggest questions about the 2,400 new files are what they are and why it took the FBI 62 years to find them. In an executive order signed in January, President Trump also ordered the declassification and release of files related to the assassination of civil rights activist Martin Luther King Jr. and Senator Robert Kennedy, the late President Kennedy's brother. Both were assassinated in 1968 and Robert Kennedy was running for president at the time. Robert Kennedy's son has been nominated by President Trump to be Secretary of Health and Human Services.